And that leads me to our featured story of the night. Get it? So I want to talk about G.I. Joe again, because I'm like, we talked about this a while that there was a G.I. Joe coming, and we found out what it is. And what is it? It's G.I. Joe and Transformers. That's what we're getting. And I'm just like, G.I. Joe and Transformers, but this is a thing. This has happened in the comic books before. And apparently the producers of Transformers, all the way back when they were doing the first couple Transformers, they wanted to bring G.I. Joe in somehow. But they could never find a way to make it work. That's what they were saying. But I mean, that could be just like them shooting shit, but who knows? But there was an interview talking to Lorenzo D. Bonaventura. I can't say this name. Lorenzo Ventura. I'm just going to call him Ventura. There we go.
Nailed it.
He's nailed it. Got it. But, you know, the new Transformers came out, Rise of the Beasts, and they had a scene at the very end where they brought in G.I. Joe into this whole franchise. They actually started the crossover where Anthony Ramos's character was like going into a building and he's going for a new job interview or it's for security. This is kind of spoilers, everybody. If you haven't seen the whatever, Rise of the Beast, it's not much to spoil. It really isn't. But he goes in there and he meets up with Agent Burke. Michael Kelly plays him from House of Cards and recently on Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan. And he says, hey, the big guys want you to join. We want to give you a new a job. Here you go. He hands him a card and it says G.I. Joe on it. So now they're going to branch them together. They're going to start slowly integrating G.I. Joe characters into this new Transformer franchise and eventually have them all mesh together for one big G.I. Joe, Optimus Primal Transformer world. And it's going to happen. And Ventura was talking about it, like the director was talking about it, how they've been wanting to do it. The director actually said he was trying to like sneak it in and he was surprised when they said, yeah, let's go for it. And the reason why they're saying it works so well for this time is because Ramos's character was like searching for a job the whole time. Like, oh, this is a perfect character. He's searching for a job the whole time. So this is great. I'm like, come on. Hey, come on, you just got nothing for this franchise. And you want to make it work, so throw G.I. Joe in. And I'm down for it. I am. But it's also like, it blew me away. I'm like, G.I. Joe and Transformers on the screen could be great, could be awesome. Sean, I know you love some comics. We were talking about G.I. Joe and Transformers before the show. What do you think about this crossover event happening? Is it good for the Transformers franchise or is this bullshit?
This is great for anyone that loves the 80s, loves action, loves explosions, loves tacky, terrible acting, and really, gimmicky names. This is for you. I was really excited about this when I heard about it because there was a scoop a couple of last week actually announcing that something called Void Rivals was coming out for Image Comics. And Void Rivals, it was a stealth release, which is very rarely done in the comic book industry. And it was touting this shared universe of two large franchises. No idea what it was. Turns out it's G.I. Joes and Transformers. So really interesting that you had Rise of the Beast come out, and that was the teaser ending. You've got this comic book introducing these two shared universes. I think this is a perfect timing. Everything is coming up, 80s baby, and give me more G.I. Joe, give me Transformers. I will agree with you. I do think like the old Transformers movies had Josh Duhamel running around as a military guy, and there was always a military component to all of these Transformers movies. Could have very easily been a G.I. Joe just injection right into that franchise. They didn't take it then. Now they're doing it now, and for some reason they decided Beast Wars was the way to do it. So here we are.
Yeah, they were saying, though, this is like the reboot now. You know, they're kind of, with this one, it's really a restart for the whole franchise. Of course, they had Bumblebee, but this is really diving back in with these characters. And so this is the perfect time to start integrating G.I. Joe in. And then they're not going to throw them all in. Like, next movie, we're going to get G.I. Joe versus Transformers. No, like, it'll probably be that same kind of thing. I think it was like Sector 9 or Sector 6 or 7 or something like that they had. It'll be the same thing. And even when they shot it, they only had one card made that said G.I. Joe. And apparently the director kept it afterwards. And they threw that Sector whatever 7 in there as a decoy for the previews. They didn't even show people that it was going to be G.I. Joe until actual theaters. I think it's good. I think it makes sense. Like, why not? Throw in some Idris Elba. Make him freaking Duke. I would love that shit. I'm all about it. Let's go. Let's rock and roll. Mike, what do you think about this? Are you excited about, I know you're a big 80s fan. Transformers, G.I. Joe. Yo, Joe, what do you think? Yo or no?
Isn't Cobra Commander a little problematic for 2023? I know Sean's dying for his GI Joe injection over there, but
That's a good point. That's a good point.
this is all Hasbro. I'm despite being a sucker for nostalgia like everybody is and a massive Gremlins defender, which I'm known as a Gremlins defender. It's we're still selling the same goddamn toys. Sabrina, your IP argument is you can just put that on a loop, just let
I
that
know,
skip
totally.
on the record
I
player
know.
all day long. What? So we're under the it's problematic. This is the okay. Here's the conspiracy theory. G.I. Joe, Hasbro, Transformers, Hasbro, D&D now, Hasbro. These are all the different kinds of children. D&D kids, G.I. Joe kids, Transformer kids. They're getting them all under the same umbrella. This is the new world order that Captain America was talking about.
Optimus Prime and G.I. Joe together, taking down the world.
I think Sean was right when he said that these could have just been injected seamlessly. It would have been a beautiful to not give it away in the advertising at all in the marketing before and just have a bunch of G.I. Joe showed up. That would have been sick. But I can't muster any enthusiasm for G.I. Joes, and Transformers has been just murdered, even though explosions and
You're right, Lexi.
in 80s, it's not going to be 80s enough for my taste, I fear. So if you want to sell me toys, give me more Legos properties, because the writing on those is baller and they keep knocking them out of the park. So Hasbro, just go ruin D&D.
Go ruin D&D. I still think it just makes sense more and more that this is the combination. I just like you're saying, it could have just been natural before. They should have done it a long time ago. They've been struggling with G.I. Joe.
It's really surprising it hasn't happened before now.
Yeah, because the movies alone sucked. They couldn't do anything with the movies. They've rebooted them multiple times. They just don't stick. You got big actors, Bruce Willis, The Rock in these things. Channing Tatum. I mean, nothing worked.
Why
Sabrina, what do you
care? Were they just bad? It was just bad screenplays.
What? Who's it for? It's for your grandpa. You know what I mean? It's not for the most audiences these days. What's it really matter? G.I. Joe, special ops team.
They just did a G.I. Joe Snake Eyes.
Sabrina worked on it.
That also flash in the pan came and went. I didn't even know it came out. I was not excited, but I worked on it. And I was like, oh, I'll watch this. I mean, came and gone. Now I could care less. I don't. I mean, I don't know why they keep. It's stop trying to shove it down my throat. You've done it a million times. You rebooted it a million times. It's not working. No one gives a fuck. You know what I mean? They tried with all super well-known people, super well-known action heroes. Then they tried with all new people. That's what the one that I worked on was all new people. I didn't recognize anybody there. You know what I mean? They were all new people, which sometimes people are like, oh, great, a new crop of people. Let me get behind this. I can relate. They're younger. I can relate. No, didn't work. So why are you now throwing it in to Transformers? It's just, I don't know. It's weird to me honestly, when you said, Sean, that, there could have been a crossover a long time ago, you're absolutely right. But at the same time, when I heard this, I was like, what the actual fuck? When you said it, I was like, oh, okay. I guess that makes much more sense to me now. But prior to you saying those words, which do make perfect sense, I didn't see it. I was like, this is, first of all, can anyone see Anthony Ramos as a G.I. Joe?
That was something I laughed about a little bit.
He was sashaying around in coattails in Hamilton. I don't know that I see him as a G.I. Joe. I love him.
He's definitely not Duke.
He's a spectacular actor, but I hope there's a musical number somewhere in there. I
don't know. I'm looking at all the list of G.I. Joe characters, and I gotta tell you, I think he can make a hell of a good snow job. I think he's got it. He's got
that
it.
Sounds
got it
terrible.
Up. Snow job, or maybe Leatherneck.
Sounds too close to Snowball.
Tunnel
Rat.
It sounds like a theme here, Sean.
It sounds like I don't know enough about G.I. Joe to properly cast Anthony.
How about
Ramos,
airtight?
so I apologize.
Sorry. He can be airtight. Let it be airtight. All right, he's airtight. Got him.
So G.I. Joe does not hold up today, the names?
Apparently not. Ripcord. He just has a parachute. That's all he does.
Oh, you don't know what a ripcord is, Sean.
Wasn't there? Oh, never mind.
No, go ahead. What?
I will. No, I was going to make a joke about that. Never mind. It's not necessary. But when they were talking about this whole situation, I was like, oh well, at least they're saying all the right things. Like, we don't want these like long tentpole 2.5, 3 hour long movies, and we want to really develop the characters, and we're gonna like gradually introduce them. We're not gonna just throw the two IPs together and like have you have to get involved with like all of these new characters. But like the biggest criticism about this particular Transformers movie is that they tried to cram too many things into its 2 hour and 7 minute long movie, by the way. So it's not short by any means, but they said that they tried to cram too much things in. They didn't develop the characters enough, and that there's not enough emotional depth in the Transformers or in the humans. So even though you're saying all the things that I kind of want to hear, it seems like you weren't able to flesh that out in this current movie. So I don't know how much hope I have in the whole crossover situation with this with G.I. Joe. It just seems like it's going to be a mess. I mean, with the exception of what Sean said, it does make much more sense to me now, but I really don't want anything to do with it. I hate to say it.
Maybe this is a whole smokescreen, and we're really not going to get a crossover. This was just, he threw it in a joke because he's a big fan of the old PSAs, and he just really wants to have the kid go pork chop sandwiches or something, and like body whatever the hell it was.
Those
like
I think that I remember those.
Yeah, who doesn't remember those PSAs? Like maybe they're just, maybe we'll never get this, and that's probably for the best. You never know.
I mean, they've been talking. That's the funny thing. We talked about this like a couple weeks ago about how there was a whole rumor about a G.I. Joe movie coming. So there it is. That's all it is. This is what they were talking about for a while now. So it might not happen, Sean, but I feel like if you're going to do G.I. Joe, this is a better way than giving them its own spinoff again. Yes. No one wants to see another standalone G.I. Joe movie with Channing Tatum dying in 2 minutes no one wants to see it. Doesn't matter who you throw in there. No one's going to watch it.
It's like a last-ditch effort to like keep it alive for whatever reason.
Who's convinced that there's still juice in the IP after, you know what I mean?
Someone
must. It's got to be one of those things where they have the rights as long as they make a project every so many years, and they're probably about to run out of their rights.
Owner. Oh yeah.
Yep. And they're probably about to run up, and so like we got to throw G.I. Joe somewhere, throw in Transformers, and they're like, this might work. And then if people like it, then maybe we'll try going from there. But I guarantee it's a money thing. It comes down to a rights thing, and they just don't want to lose it just in case there's a great idea somewhere to make it work for a franchise again. But it won't.
There's a character, Law and Order, who has an attack dog. Would that work for him? That's pretty good.
Oh boy.
Well, he'll be the crossover person. So he'll be a G.I. Joe, but also he's like cool with the Transformers. So he'll be like the negotiator.
In between.
Yeah, he'll be like, you guys, we're gonna do this, you guys, we're gonna do that. He's gonna be like the common resource of the G.I. Joe fleet and the Transformer fleet. So he's going to be like the big boss. He's going to own it all, I guess. I'm guessing, I guess.
The question is, did anybody see that movie over the weekend? Any of us?
No.
I don't think a lot of people did. So it might not even work because we didn't see either. But hopefully this is the way to fix G.I. Joe.
$183 million globally, so that's not
somebody's
too bad.
seeing it. Oh yeah,
somebody's watching it. I still want to see it, and it's fun. It's just fun movies. But G.I. Joe, Transformers. Never thought I'd say it as a crossover, but it sounds like it's something that's happening. And I like to see a Captain Planet too. Like, so that'd be fun. But we need Don Cheadle back because he did a great job in those YouTube videos. That's all I'm saying.
Humor Don Cheadle did it. College Humor already did it, Lexi.
Can't touch it. But they can touch G.I. Joe and Transformers, and they will.